This is interesting. Peace, YouTube. This is Fleur Brune coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. I have a new thing. I'm trying to upgrade myself on here, so I have it on a stationary thing. So big up, peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. Hello, all. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Hey, Sensei. It's nice when I come early, right? I'm nice and early. It's beautiful in Florida today. So I thought I'd do a live. I was supposed to go and do Aquarius Rising. I apologize for all those who were waiting for Aquarius Rising last night. I have little people and they wanted me to do their hair and curls and all this wonderful stuff last night. So I was in mommy mode for last night, so I apologize. You know, normally I do the show. I have a show on hybrids next week. So next week I'll do the show that I was supposed to do last night on hybrids. So big up to everyone in the house. So we're going to get into the end times, or a new earth, right? So many of you had experienced Saturn's return. If you don't know now, you know. Saturn has come home with an oomph and an oomph and an oomph, right? Saturn has shown, Daddy has come home to, make sure he is reestablished the ley lines of consciousness. Okay, so many of you are witnessing, from what the intel that I'm getting from just our general family, the energies within our collective, our beautiful collective. If you come in the house, please put a like on the video, please, when you step in the door. I appreciate it. General consensus is that many people are witnessing, and this is which is really, I'm appreciative to hear this, rather than it be our personal personal purge. I'm seeing a lot of you witnessing a lot of others experiencing trauma, experiencing sadness, experiencing some form of an unraveling, probably of their subconscious. So it's interesting that many of you who contact me have talked about witnessing family members going through a lot of upheaval, witnessing a lot of people in your lives that are experiencing trauma or sickness. And all I say is it's not positive in that way, but it is a denotion that the purging and the releasing is happening now, because a lot of times if one doesn't get it, right, a lot of us chose, well, I chose to a certain degree the amount of awakening that I had, but sometimes there were times in my life where I felt like I wouldn't have chosen it. I had to be propelled into maybe sadness or being dealing with an aspect of someone else acting in a way that was a projection of myself, of how I felt about myself. So I think a lot of times we always say, well, it's nice to choose from a comfortable position than for the energies to choose you, for universal alignment to have to propel you into those aspects of seeing yourself, resolving issues that are unresolved, whether it's from childhood trauma, maybe having a divorce, or having a sickness or ailment, or losing a parent or a child, what have you. We all are propelled into the realm of our subconscious, or dealing with spiritual lessons that will help and help to be the catalyst for our spiritual evolution, or rather your evolution of consciousness, right? So we have end days, right? Big up to all those who still drink coffee. It's the perfect temperature. So what I'm denoting is, as I'm watching the matrix unravel, I'm observing it from a safe and distance, gratefully. I'm noticing that there's a lot of upheaval in the matrix, a lot of cataclysms. Let me send a lot of peace and love to our famille in Texas. Texas is undergoing a flooding. I'm not sure if many of you know, Texas has a few people who've passed away from the flooding. I mean, it's been an astrological amount of rain, which has caused flooding, unprecedented flooding. which has destabilized some of these cities. So let's send some beautiful energy and some protective energy and some peace to those who are undergoing that now. Also for our famille who's still in Bahamas, I always send, just like in Puerto Rico when our famille was going through it. In Puerto Rico, we sent a lot of energy, a lot of peace. And again, I always encourage anyone, if you have the opportunity, to always extend, if your cup is filled or overflowing, to always give from your overfill to those in need. So, you know, if you have extra resources or clothing or diapers or what have you, if you have your schools, because we don't trust Red Cross or any of these other big conglomerates, make sure you donate to the schools. I know the schools it was the last day yesterday at the schools over here where I live. A lot of your schools are taking donations for Bahamas, for the tragedy of the people in Bahamas. So make sure you do that. If you have a cup that's overfilled, remember, I only give to you or to anyone from my overfill. I make sure that I fill my cup up first. You can't give from a depleted state of being. So if you aren't in a position to help yourself or you're still in need, I wouldn't ask or even send this out to you. I say you fill up your cup first, and from the overflow we give. Okay. So anyway, family, we're in end times. You're seeing everything basically happening. You're seeing the super volcanoes blowing up, activating. Okay. So we also know that during this particular time, that pre-pole shift, right, there would be a active volcanoes that were normally dormant becoming active. Now that is one of, if not the Hopi predictions have to do with the blue and red Kachina in the sky, the meteors. And if you don't know, and if you've not lived on this planet, I don't really watch news, but we watch our YouTube news on YouTube. We get our intel from YouTube. You've noticed that there have been several. Oh, peanut butter. there have been several. I behaved myself. There have been several sightings of the meteorites in the sky, everywhere. Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, United States, and Wisconsin, over New York. We've seen several different meteorites that have been noted in the sky. Now, whether they're, you know, natural meteorites or they are extraterrestrially, propelled, doesn't matter. There's been a denotion of more than ever. So I think many of you who are a little more seasoned realize that we hadn't seen, meteorites coming out of the sky ever, or a denotion for 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have heard that there were 50 million. I exaggerate. Let me pull back my exaggeration. You wouldn't have heard of 5 or 10 meteorite shootings in the sky, sightings in the sky. We didn't hear things like that. You're hearing it now because we are at the end of their times and we are at the beginning a new cycle for Earth. So because of that, we always discuss that in order to reestablish a new society, and there isn't any way that you can build on an already existing society. Everything has to basically be cleared. Okay, so part of Mother Tiamat, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, Mother Terra, part of that clearing is natural disasters that are sometimes most natural and others are artificially provoked by the dark Kabbalists who have their own agenda because they aren't happy. And many of them are being caught up in karma because once Saturn comes home, karma is reestablished. Hold on. Okay, so because that reason, you have a lot of them geoengineering storms itself. So it's hard to say what's real and what's not because you have the dark Kabbalists doing their own dirt, creating all kinds of, using HARP systems to be able to geoengineer weather to make it beneficial to maybe clear area for them. And then you have the natural clearing of Mother Tiamat, which she does during the cycle. It's a cycle switch. So we're going from the end of one cycle, which is patriarchal cycle, more stoic, and we're going into the indigenous type of cycle where the matriarchy comes back in realignment. Okay? And when I say realignment, it's not dominating over the males. If you realize how think it's proper for a woman to dominate a man. Listen, part of their repertoire, physically or sexually, that has nothing to do with me. Contacting me and asking me that question, listen, I am a proponent, and if many of you know me for years, a balance. Balance means that not one or the other is dominating over the other, obviously. I think it's unnatural for anyone to dominate over one another. Is it buffering? Is it happening already? Okay, put a 13 if you can hear me. Put a 13 if you can hear me. If not, I'm gonna have to relocate. The audio is off? Okay, Rohan, you can hear me, right? Okay, remember, okay, so big up to all. Please put a like on the video. Please, when you step in the room, please put a like on the video. I appreciate it. Remember, family, we have new subscribers. Big up to our new subscribers who've come and joined us. To the new subscribers, remember, we're of a certain frequency here. And what happens sometimes, if you're having difficulty with the deliverance of my messages or it's buffering, it could mean the frequency is out of sync with what is normally you're accustomed to, unless you've been here for a while. It could just be connection, okay? But if it's buffering, okay, hold on. Okay, sometimes if you're a new subscriber, you know, I'm a little, let me just, you know, re-deliver myself. I'm someone a little different. And a lot of us have been together for a long time. A lot of my original subscribers, we've been part of each other for a long time. So we've kind of, our frequencies match. So when new beings, wonderful people come on and join us, it takes a while to kind of mesh with the frequencies. It's a totally different frequency. It doesn't mean I'm above or below. It just means that in order to field with the energy, sometimes the messages won't come through. Remember, if you're just coming to the channel, I'm a contactee of particular extraterrestrials. And because of this, I have my own frequency that I emit. Generally with my channel, it's always been the same. People come to me based on matching and just getting shared, just finding me naturally. But when others are shared to my platform from other platforms, it probably, I may not match your frequency. So it might take a time. And it's okay, because remember, we're all at the level we're supposed to be. And if I'm not in your frequency, the message will come eventually. And it may not come through me, it may come through another avatar, okay? So, now, if it's still buffering, I think you guys can see me. Okay, you guys are fine. Let me stay on topic. Got my coffee. It's Friday. Happy Love Day. Big up to the twin flames in the house. This is Love Day. I'll get into the twin flames as far as New Earth. I know you guys like to hear about it, and I'm going to do a twinning update, okay? But we'll get into the New Earth. So now you're starting to see a lot of the old establishment falling apart. You're starting to see fires, not only in the Amazon, but in Africa, in the Congo, it's burning up. You're seeing fires in the Midwest. Fires everywhere, okay? And you're saying to yourself, oh, they're setting fires. It is impossible. Listen, family. This is why I say we have to be rational, because if you understand that this is a holographic environment that we're interacting with, whenever there's a clearing, it happens on all layers, okay? Remember, the earth is like a layer, like an onion. There's different frequencies of earth. Remember, we converge with timelines. So what's happening with the convergence is the part of the earth that was in one version, if you're going into, it depends on what your frequency is and how you're going to coexist in the new earth frequency. So when you collapse the timelines, there are different versions of earth. There were fires in the Congo and not in the Amazon. So remember, that aspect of the timeline where there are fires in the Congo overlap on the ones that there are Amazonian fires, because fires are a part of the clearing. So because you're going to see that in different timelines, you won't just see fires in one arena, you'll see fires in other arenas. But because we're collapsing, it just looks like everything's burning, right? And that's because of all the overlapping of the timelines. So that's why you're starting to see or note or witness or hear there's fires in Africa, there's fires in the States. Hold on. There's fires in the States, there's fires in Brazil, there's fires in Peru, there's fires in parts of the, what was the other place? I I forgot. Oh, there was somewhere else. Then there was activity, also volcanic activity is now bubbling. Now, Yellowstone, I will say this, and I won't do the update of the 2012 movie. I'll wait for the conference. At the conference, big up to all who are joining me for the conference. Big up to Aluna Ash and Ada who are joining and the Conscious Poet. Big up to all joining for the conference. I'm still getting ready, so I'm in conference mode. So if you're not getting messages, if I'm not able to get back to you in a while, it's because I'm in conference mode. And the conference is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's in New Orleans this year, the Flipboard Experience Conference in the Bayou. So because it's not in my neck of the woods, I have a little bit different types of preparation for this. So I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person at the conference. So big up to all joining us. What I was saying is that with the new timelines converging on top of each other, now we're starting to see a different established environment. Like now you're starting to note that everyone's feeling it. So whereas normally, and with Saturn coming home, that helps or doesn't help depending on how you see it. Okay, so that's why you're starting to see people, you know, display their sociopathic behavior more publicly. Okay, so you will see people who become more sociopathically disrupted or unraveled. Okay, because of the energies, the collapsing of timelines, they are unable to mask what they weren't willing to resolve. Okay, so they're unable to mask what they were unwilling to resolve. Okay, so a lot of people who were normally good maskers at their personal feelings, or maybe their issues at home, or maybe their trauma that they dealt with, everything is becoming unraveled. So you are witnessing, a lot of you are calling me and saying, oh my gosh, you know, my family members are this way, and everyone's unraveling. But you've done the work. For us to have been in this little arena for a long period of time, we used to talk about it, we purged, we realized our shadows, we confronted them, we introduced them within ourselves and accepted them. We've done the work. But many of the populace have not. Most people have been sleeping for 20, 30, however long they've existed on this, in this matrix. And because of that, we're going into a new earth cycle, and everything that isn't in alignment with the new version and frequency of earth won't be able to be here. So it has to either resolve, it either has a get out or get out. Okay, you need to get it or get out. That's basically the new frequency. I'm keeping it 1000. So if you're unwilling to see aspects of yourself that need to be readjusted or reevaluated in order to make you more balanced, then you're going to get forced. It'll be forced on you through tragedies, trauma, sickness, adversity. And if you don't get it, then you won't be able to be here. So then you'll be omitted from the programming. You'll be omitted from the frequency, of new version of Earth. And it's basically how she clears. So as I'm saying, we have different versions of Earth showing up, overlapping on top of one another, and it's causing people's emotions to be, unhinged. And also, you have to take in consideration all these physical changes, geographical changes, weather changes that's causing the human body to also feel, remember we had the feet issue? Remember I went to Brazil and I came back and everybody's feet were swollen or hurting, and knees. That was a part of remember, feet represent stability. And when the earth is unstable, we're unstable. So a lot of us had feet and leg issues until we started to become more acclimated to the energies and the change and the shift. Once we did that, feet and knee issues were resolved. Some people are just getting the feet and knees issues now because they're getting to the stage where we were a couple weeks ago. So that's okay. It doesn't matter when you start off your reacclimation or your adjusting. It's that you do adjust. That's all it is. So a new earth is amazing. I've seen a version of her, and there aren't many people there. That I know, well, at least where I am in the version of Earth in the future. I remember seeing that years ago where I was, I think I had my little one. I was getting a lot of amazing, I wouldn't call them visions, just a foresight. I am heightened in awareness. You won't ever hear Flora Burns say she's psychic. I'm heightened in awareness. Psychicness is like a buzz term that was created to make some people feel like they were, you know, supernatural. I personally don't think it's a supernatural ability. I think it's ability that everyone has. Some have it more heightened than others, but it's just heightened awareness. And I've discussed that before. So I was able to see a version of Earth, the version of Earth that I'll coexist in, and is absolutely magical. But there aren't a lot of people where I am. I remember seeing, because I have a affinity for, many of you know, for waterfalls, and I was on top of a waterfall, like a beautiful, but it was several different waterfalls in front of me, and I was living there with the village. Big up to those who are joining me in the sanctuary in the future. I know it's a sanctuary now, because now when I saw where the sanctuary is going to be, I realized that that's where I saw, what was this, 10 years ago, I saw this place. 10 years ago, and that's why I wanted the sanctuary. So once I saw it, I saw people. We were very, very simple but very advanced. When I say advanced, our thoughts were able to create our reality. So like if we decided to do something, things would basically so if you had a thought, literally it would come into you would manifest it almost immediately. That's how it is in the future. So a thought created the actual manifestation of it immediately. There wasn't that interim, like that little bit of time in between that you would have to wait. It just would come, instant manifestation, right? So that was one of the things I denoted, and also we were very happy. You know, if you look at, you know, everybody's future timeline is different. So I'm speaking, and I have to be very careful because I'm speaking about what I see for my future timeline. Okay, so I'm speaking about that, but everybody I was around was very happy, very calm, very just balanced. They were balanced. Everyone was excited to just be. There wasn't any active fear. I didn't feel any anxiety. I felt a really amazing sense of peace with everyone around. So that in itself always gave me the absolution that in the future, at least in the timeline that I coexist in, it's going to be a beautiful placement, and it's a beautiful Earth. I mean, I'm very grateful, and I'm sure many of you, to live on an amazing planet that sustains us in such a masterful way. Just the point that we have these artificial beings that are on our planet, that colonize our planet, that have made it non-cohesive. Before they came, we were all good in the hood. You know what I mean? You know, they will come like Tila Tequila had a feed yesterday. Listen, okay, please put a like on the video. I'm asking for all those who come in the door. Please put a like on the video. I appreciate it when you do so. It allows YouTube to keep this channel alone, because they always know that when I'm being witnessed, they aren't allowed to do their diabolicalness on my channel like they used to. Last night or yesterday, I was going in on Tila Tequila. Remember, I don't know if many of you know from the Intellus community, Tila Tequila was dropping dimes on the establishment. Remember, she was talking about the cloning facilities, what the Satanists are doing, how they were causing, how they were trafficking children. She was a whistleblower. Then they took her, first of all, I think the version of Tila Tequila, she has been what we consider to be rewired, okay? I thought it was cloned at first, but because she gave birth to children, it means she isn't cloned. To my knowledge, clones can't give birth. So the fact of the matter, they took her over. They did a Kanye. They did a Kanye. And it's funny because all she kept doing was talking about brown people and Kanye West. So it's almost like a projection. You know, if you listen long enough, people tell you who they are. She kept mentioning Kanye, brown people obsessed with Kanye. Let me explain something. There aren't any healthy people that are obsessed or even give Kanye any credit or see him as a godlike being. We understand that, you know, big up to Kanye, the Kanye I knew back in the days, but the person he is today, that is another being. They took him, wiped his head out, and reestablished somebody else that I don't recognize. So for her saying Kanye West over and over, saying that brown people are sick, they're cursed, they're the devils of the planet. They kill each other. I just said to her, because I was on the feed last night. Sometimes I get, after I did my girl's hair at a little ley line time. Maybe it was before I did their hair. I don't remember. Have a little time. I said to her, do you realize you said, kept saying brown people are just hostile and savages. I said, do you realize that the whole planet has been colonized by non-brown people? So why are you calling brown people savage? There's a lot of people I'm sure that you do know that there's been mass genocide of people wherever Westerners have gone, and they aren't brown. Brown people killing themselves is a systemic problem of what happens originally. That's a sickness that came with being destabilized. Whenever you destabilize any place where indigenous people are, they will act archaic because you take away their environmental comforts. This being went off. But again, she's not there. I should, it's like talking to someone who's irrational, because she saw I was on there because she was obsessed with me for years ago, a couple of years ago. She probably still is. But she just became unhinged. She started to talk about Jesus Christ, how she not rebukes, it was interesting, just to say the least. But this is also a testament of how those who have been rewired, we call them, hold on, someone was acting a little strange. Okay. She's been rewired, just like Kanye West. And her referencing him also solidifies that she had the same procedure that he had to defrag their brains, try to change the way that they think. But because their mind isn't any longer the same, they're not rational anymore. She sings hymns on television. On YouTube, she sings hymns and out of tune. It's really quite tragic. And she was a whistleblower. That's what they do to the past whistleblowers. Back in the days when you were a whistleblower, they either killed you or they took you and reprogrammed you. That's what happens. And if they can reprogram you where you're acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, they're happy with that. They're happy with her singing hymns, talking about Jesus Christ is her lover, and talking about all kinds of last night she was making racial complexion comments. Last night she was going in. But I just say this is what happens when you're changing into a different level of frequency, and the establishment will place strategic beings there to create a narrative that will catch a few flies. It'll catch a few of you, right? So we do know in the establishment, if you have people who come into, big up to Fidgy Girl. We were talking about that. Oh, she said something, but I'm not gonna repeat it. I was just gonna blow the spot, Fidgy Girl. Sorry family, whenever I have something I'm about to say, because remember I'm a Sagittarius, I want to say everything and I have to be mindful. Sometimes I just want to say everything that comes into my frame of thinking and share it, but certain things I have to be conscious of other people. But what I was realizing is that even within the Intellist community, they purposefully place beings that have the same genre of conscious frequency. They illuminate like they're conscious and that they're Intellist, but they're actually inserted by the government in order to catch a few of you. So once they catch you, they can utilize the fact that you're enamored by them because because they're speaking the same conscious language or spiritual language as you, and they catch you in order to throw you off the mark, basically. So you got to be careful with that. I've fallen in that trap several times, probably online. And one thing with me, because of the way that I've been reared, and because I have a certain level of intellect and discernment, I'm really big. If I'm enamored by someone consciously or spiritually, I want to meet them in person. I'm like that. I want to meet them in person to see how legitimate it is, or to vet it out. I've always been that type of person, maybe because I grew up in a little town in Mount Vernon, New York. Big up to my Mount Vernonites. I grew up in a very little town. We always knew each other. My mother was a teacher. had a really wonderful, healthy family establishment. Everyone knew my parents. You know, we were known in the neighborhood. I'm used to knowing people. So for me, in order to vet someone out in my world, not everybody's like this. I'm like this. I have to meet you in person. I have to literally see you, feel your frequency. It's just what I do, and that's how I establish a level of legitimacy. I just I just do. So I remember back in the days, because I'm from New York. Many of you know I'm from New York. I live in Florida now. When I first moved to Florida, I went to go meet because I was part of the scene in New York. You know, back in the days, I had, as part of part of that world of the hip hop world. A little bit of that in a different kind. I came in from a different way. Okay, so some of you know me from that genre. So when they had meetings or things like this and tellus meetings, I would go, and especially when I first moved here, I would go on my own because I'm about that. Listen, I don't need company to go and establish myself or meet people. I will go meet you on my own. And I went to go meet some of the homies up here who were having some meetings. That's how I found out what they were doing with the organ harvesting. With what's the gentleman that was what's the gentleman? I forgot his name. What's the gentleman? I'm sorry. My brain is my brain is out of my head. What's his name? He was killed when I came up here. Was murdered. The young brown man who was murdered. What's his name? I forgot his name. It was a big deal. He was killed by the fake security guard, and it was a big deal up here in Florida. What's his name again? I think many of you know. Okay, I'm looking to see. Oh, Trayvon Martin. Thank you so much, Trayvon Martin. So many of you know I went to one of the meetings over here because there was a whole bunch of New York. I always hang out with New York. I'm in Florida. I just go and hang out with New Yorkers. David Banner came up. What's her name came? What's her name came up? There was another singer who came up. I got a call. I called one of my homeboys and I said, "Hey, you're gonna be there?" And he said yes. Now, he's someone who I know is now an agent. Okay, I'm not gonna say who it is. Some of you already know because I've shared this story before. But I went up, and that's how I found about Trayvon Martin, that his organs were actually removed. His parents were paid off. I didn't know they were harvesting brown people's organs in mass droves. I hadn't any idea. I found that out when I moved to Florida several years ago. Okay, so that's the first time I ever heard family. Okay, you're here. I apologize. No, it was buffering because I got a phone call for my little one. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. That was me. When I do this on the phone, if you get a phone call, it just happens. It was nothing freaky. It wasn't Freaky Friday. It was just a call from my little people. Okay. Because my little people only eat things that are egg free. So my little one only can have things that are vegan. So one of the mommies calls me because there's eggs and some cookies, and I don't want her having eggs in anything. So they just called to make sure. So because she can't have the cookies that the mommy bought, I love when mommies call. I'm gonna buy her my cookies that are gluten free and egg free. And I'll bring them and I'll add them to the mix so that she can have, so she doesn't feel left out. So a lot of times, as mommies, how we get down is I love for her to be incorporated, but I think it's amazing when we can incorporate some of our diet. And the cookies I have are fabulous. So, and they're vegan. So they're egg free and nut free and, gluten free and all that good stuff. And they love them. So and the children get a chance to taste some of the cookies that I have, Okay, so I'm sorry, family. I don't know where it was. I hate when that happens. What time is it? Okay, let me see what time it is. What time is it over here? Okay. Oh, the earth. Oh, someone said the earth is flat. We have flat earthers in here? Okay. I apologize. Let me get back to it. So what I was saying years ago is I found out about Trayvon Martin and him being his organs being removed, and that was something that was happening. Now I know it happens in the groves, and a lot of people of color that are kidnapped or taken, Their organs are removed. There's hits on people of color. That's a fact. It's not something, back in the days I didn't know about it. So when I went to a meeting, I found out. But all this was to share that one of the people that was part of the Intellis community is an agent. I guess I could say it now. Okay, well, I guess I'll share it, because I think a lot of times I don't want to be ominous where I'm not sharing exactly. I guess I can keep it real. I don't really kiki with him anymore, because I realized he was an agent when I went down there, and we were at the same event, but it was Professor Griff. Okay, Professor Griff. So many of you know, like, I called Professor Griff, and again, this happened from back in the days, you know. So Professor Griff, I called him on the phone. That's when we talked, and I said, he told me he was going to be there, and I was like, that's cool, I'll come down. And I went to to one of the meetings they were having where they had music. It was amazing. Like I said, David Banner was there. A lot of people from New York flew in just for the event. It was in Tampa. I could drive straight there. It was amazing. I had a great time, but actually I got a chance to sit with Griff. Now, Griff, from back in the days, I never hung out with him, but we walked around the same circles of people. So when I went and met him, I straight away felt like he wasn't even there. Like, straight away. That's why my discernment is on point. He was not there. He was literally removed and gone. Whoever he was before, I don't know, but the person that I met was not there. There was no soul in that body. Everything that he denoted on a platform basis wasn't true. I mean, it literally broke my heart, to be honest. And that was back then. So you got to take, that was Fleur Bruin how many years ago? How many years ago did I move up here? That was roughly 2012. I think that was 2012 or 2011. I think it was 2012 or 2011. He was gone, and it broke my heart. It literally broke my heart, because listen, again, we ran in the same circles. I had a respect for his intel. I really, really, really liked his intel at the time. I used to listen to his lectures. I had a certain perception of him that was totally gone once I met him in person. I was gone. It was gone. He wasn't conscious. He wasn't about that life. He was basically a little bit of like a creep. I'm gonna be very respectful. A little bit like a creep. And I will say this, when I went to this event, all the men were amazing. I was respected. You know, I felt very safe. I had, you know, we had a lot of the Islamic community was there. The men were amazing, you know, because I'm coming as a woman, coming in at an event by myself. You know, it could go any which way. I was respected. I was honored. A lot of people knew me from back in the days. So I want to say that, because I don't want to make it seem like because he was a certain way I was mistreated. Absolutely not. I was actually treated very well, and I had a magnificent time, and I met some incredible people that I'm still friends with. Okay. But when I met him, he was an empty seater, wasn't there. When you talk to him, he spoke about things that he was not exuding. And I realized at that point, family, that we are being baited and switched. You know, we're basically being misled, and they're inserting agents, because remember, he talks about his place, government tried to kill him. Remember, he talked about all that stuff. He talked about how they tried to take him out. They burned up his house. There was a fire, or so on. I personally think that probably happened, but when they did it, they replaced him, or they reprogrammed. I don't think he's reprogrammed like Kanye West and Tequila. I personally think that that they replaced him. Like, he's not there. Whatever is there isn't that man that we knew years ago. This is my personal opinion, and I met him in person. And this is why, family, I tell you, you have to be careful. Even with me, I always tell you, vet me out. And many of you meet me. A lot of you meet me in the weirdest places. That's why it's very odd when people meet me. They'll be like, Flurburn, you're such the same person that we see on YouTube. Listen, I'm a mom from Mount Vernon, New York. I'm a contactee. I've been on this YouTube platform for over 7 years. Who you see here is who you meet out in public. A lot of you see me in the grocery store or at Universal Studios, because I live in Florida. You see me over at my health food store. One of the gentlemen met me there. You will meet me as I am. There isn't any reason why I'm a woman of a certain age. There isn't any reason I need to fake the funk at this point. I'm past that stage. You know what I mean? When I was a young person, maybe I would have put on more airs, but I'm a woman of a certain age. There isn't any reason why faking the funk would only make my life harder. If I got to put on an illusion for you, it's going to make my life difficult. So I keep it real. And I always tell people who and what I am so that you know that's what you get. But you got to be careful with these established people. And that's why I say to you all the time, with this change and cycle, I always like to meet people in person. And when I started with doing the conferences, like doing the conferences, last year I did my first experience or conference, which is amazing. Big up to everyone who joined me last year. I was the first woman to have a UFO conference, a ET conference, and I was the first woman of color to do it. And it was amazing. People came out. Some people were scared because they were scared to meet someone who may have had contact with ETs. I understand. But for those who showed up, they realized how amazing it was to meet each other in person. And that's how you can vet out people. When you meet them, you'll know someone's frequency and you know how legitimate they are. Even Barry Littleton talks about this. Big up to Barry Littleton, who I had as part of my conference. Barry Littleton talked about the conference. It was amazing, right? When he said he goes to conferences, because he goes to other conferences, he went to mine, I had him come to mine. He said, there isn't anything like meeting the person that you hear talk, like Corey Good. Remember Corey Good? I had an issue with Corey Good. You know what's interesting? Now, Barry Littleton met Corey Good in person, because we felt a certain way about him online, to be honest. I haven't met Corey Good yet, but Barry Littleton just met him and did an interview with him, and he called me. He was like, he's mad cool. He's a little, he's got his little thing going on, but most people who are contactees do. But he said he felt he was legitimate. And you know how he was able to vet that out is because he met him in person. So I said, you know what, Barry, I'm going to take your word, because I trust Barry's intellect, and I trust his opinion, because Barry keeps it real. Barry doesn't hold it. Many of you know Barry doesn't hold his tongue. He never did and never will. And I trusted his opinion. And when he said he met him in person, remember, I felt a certain way about Corey Good and his intel, but when he met him in person, it was a way different feeling in person than he got from online. So it was actually the opposite. He felt he had issues with the way he was online, but when he met him in person, he actually felt he was more legitimate and actually very meek, and he said he was very humble. Okay, so I found that very interesting. So I'm just saying, be careful with the online agent predators, because they are set here. A lot of them are geoengineered. We talked about a couple platforms where, I'm sorry. We talked about a couple platforms where there are people I know that were created in laboratories. This is my personal opinion. You may not agree, but I've known people who were created, and they can't vet out their families. They either come from being adopted or come from being foster children, and you can't vet out their original families. And I told you, I made a whole video on them geoengineering these hybrid children, or these traumatized MK Ultra children, then inserting them into family dynamics through foster care or adoption, and these beings automatically being propelled into YouTube as agents, because they've already been reinserted. They've been inserted with the program to insert themselves into our matrix and basically build a narrative of quote unquote spirituality and consciousness when they're diabolical. Nature is one. There's another young lady who's one. She's trauma based. So all she does is, she basically regurgitates her trauma on people to infect them, so that it creates an infection. And anyone who's addicted to trauma or disclosing trauma to you all the time, those people aren't healthy. That's a program. So be careful with those who are in the program, who have this trauma-based program. Remember, Nature talks about I don't want to say the word real end moments, right? So all he does is during these moments, he talks about the sickness of molesting children, having sex with dogs. That's a trauma-based program. And many of the people that I've met on YouTube from the Brown community, they have this narrative, and they've been inserted in that way. Hasim Campbell is another one. And those are the people that I personally think, that are being agent-based provocateurs set into the conscious and spiritual community to catch people who are in that enlightened, just waking up. But what they do is they're infecting them with dark, trauma-based programs. So I'm just, I put that there all to say that, the only person that you could vet out is yourself. And if you haven't, that's why it's good for you to go and meet people in person, because you get a better understanding of who they are. Some people are very quirky and weird. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I look normal. When I say I'm a weirdo because, even in the realm of the Matrix, people meet Fleur and they're like, they're that don't know I'm in this world. I'm not talking about people from like YouTube who know me, or people from the radio world who know me. I'm talking about regular people who know me, and they think it's weird that I'm a brown woman who talks about being in contact with extraterrestrial or has an affinity for like UFOs. They think it's very weird, but they don't think it's negative. They just think that's a weirdo quality. You know what I mean? When I say weirdo, that's my perception of how they may perceive me. They're respectful. They think it's intriguing because it's something that's unique. They don't get to experience that a lot. But a lot of times, if they don't come from our world, they think that's just strange. Like, where did you come from, brown woman who's into extraterrestrials? So in itself, and I don't hide myself, If I'm looking at the sky, they'll be like, "What are you looking at?" I'm looking for UFOs. I don't hide it. I'm past that point. What's the point? If I want to look up at the sky, most people don't even look at the sky could be falling, and a majority of the folks in your world won't even look up at the sky. They walk around with cell phones all day in their hands. We could have meteorites about to hit the earth. They would never even notice that. They wouldn't even notice a plane falling out the sky until it got halfway to where it's gonna hit before they would notice. That's how unaware most people are. It's very sad. It's tragic when I'm looking at the little people walking in the roads. My concern for the young people, you see like these young high schoolers or middle schoolers, they're walking in a road. Listen, it's like AI infection. It's an AI infection. They're just staring at their phone like this. The car could come and skip the sidewalk, hit them. Somebody could come and punch them in the back of their head. They would never know because they're infected with electronics. Hold on. This man is enamored with me right now. Hold on. He might approach. He's over here making faces. Hold on. This is why I like to make my videos in the car, but hold on. I just have to. Okay, maybe he'll leave me be. I have to get my ice grill ready. Fleur is okay with admiration, but sometimes oh, look at this guy. Okay, hold on. Anyway, so let me go back in topic. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Rebuke them. I don't want to be rude sometimes. Admiration isn't a bad thing. Always. Hold on. Okay, I apologize. I just, I have to be on guard, and I just have to, make sure I'm watching everything. So I have to pay attention. Okay, so let's go back into the new Earth. Now that we're witnessing the changes of the end times. End times are just basically the clearing of the entirety of the planet from the diabolical ones. Remember, it isn't their home court advantage anymore. It is the female who have home court advantage on this Earth right now. It's fact. If you don't know, you should watch some of the movies and watch how they reestablish the characters now, and they've remade movies with females in it. Okay, so it is women's home court advantage. It is what it is. You know, men had patriarchal system, had their home court advantage. They were allowed to be disrespectful, misogynistic, and there were least amount of repercussions from being heinous to women. Actually, sometimes in some periods of the patriarchal system, it was actually accepted and rewarded if you were abusive to women. Okay, so we aren't in that any longer. Okay, it's a reestablishment. It is home court advantage of the sisterhood. It is what it is. What this means, because someone asked me, what does that mean that you're home court advantage? For those who are into sports, remember I was married to someone in sports. Home court advantage means that when you're in your home court, our stadium has everything, all of the repertoire of our team. We have all of our poster boards up. All of the stands are filled with our fans and our people who are on our side, who are supportive of us. All the referees are biased for us. So the referees, if a male comes up to me now and he's semi disrespectful, or not really, just a little bit, and I elbow him in his face, the referee would be like, "That's fair." He'd be like, "Yo, she did something illegal. Sorry." She's good. That's home court advantage. Okay, that's what males had previous in the patriarchal time, and you can vet that out. You can see how the establishment is now as opposed to how it was previously. Okay, and what's nice about having home court advantage is a lot of the women are allotted things that they didn't have naturally before. So now you have the thing. What is it called? I have a girlfriend who tried it and it works, and it was cruel because let me not say that publicly. She did it. You know that thing you put inside the vagina that has spikes all over it? I forgot what it's called. What is it called? It's a rape thing. So women now have this thing inside of them when they go out in public, like if they feel like they're going somewhere and I forgot what it's called. What is it? Oh, you know what it's called. Some of you know what it is. What is it, like a rape deterrent or something like that? I forgot what it's called. There's a name for it. So she tried it. It's put inside of your yoni, right? And if a man tries to rape you, his whole wand will be ripped up and shredded. You know why we have that now? Is because we have home court advantage. So now all these things, now they have birth control for men that will be on birth control for men is now going to be released. Because all of the onus was on women, that we were only, so for all these men who say they don't want children, now you will have birth control, and you will have all the wonderful side effects with birth control like women did, and you will be opted out of having children like you don't want, but you will have to have a price for that. So that's home court advantage. Okay, is it a chastity belt? I forgot what it is. Who's this religious? What is going on here? Can someone, okay, I don't know, okay, I know we have some new subscribers in the room. Please put a like on the video. I appreciate it if you come into the room. Let me just state this. I don't know if there's some religious banter on here, and I'm okay with everyone feeling a certain way. Just be mindful if you are suffering from, Stockholm Syndrome, we won't allow you to be here and perpetually do a loop in here because it isn't healthy. I allow for all conversations, but if you are going to perpetually talk about Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, and you say that more than once or twice, then we know that you're on a loop in a program, and I asked for the for my admins, is that admins or the people with the wrenches, to kindly remove you. It isn't healthy, and that kind of infection and program is not something I will allot in this platform. So I respect that you think Jesus is your personal savior. Okay, I respect it, but on this platform, it's okay to say it once, but if you're saying it over and over, it's because you're trying to infect people's minds. You want people to, you're trying to insert your own personal belief systems and trying to insert it into establishment in order to get a reaction. And I think it's disrespectful and dishonoring. So I just ask that you leave nicely, okay, on your own, or my admins will nicely usher you out. I'm sorry. We have people from other platforms, and they aren't in a frequency, and they're bringing in their fear or their ailments with them, because they, and it's okay to come here, but just, anyway, I don't want to judge them too deeply. Anyway, So now we have the reestablishment of a new earth. So women in a home court advantage, and women will have easier births. You'll have easier, and if you notice, there's going to be a resistance to our home court advantage. Remember, the other team knows that they aren't have advantage anymore, so they're going to try to play dirty. That's why you have all these attacks on the newborns, trying to do all these eye examinations, putting all these laws in to try to further vaccinate people. That's all the other side being poor losers. That's a loser. You're a loser, establishment, for trying to infect the new babies because you aren't in home court advantage. Thank you, love. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mama. Yeah, so you need to just accept that we had to learn spiritually in an old paradigm, which was patriarchal based, where we had to learn aspects of ourselves. We had to deal with our shadows. We dealt with a lot of trauma as females on this planet, especially the planet's female. So the planet was traumatized by the patriarchy, and also the females were traumatized because they had to learn themselves. They had to reestablish a way. Is it 11? Is it 11:11 already? Please don't tell. It's not 11 o'clock already. I have to go bring snacks to my little one. Can you guys give me the time? I hope it's not 11:11. If it's 11:11, I have to go. I don't think it's 11:11. Is it 11 o'clock yet? Can someone give me the time? What time is it? It's only 10:11. Okay, it's only 10:11. All right, thank you. Oh, East Coast, it's 10:11. You made me nervous. 11:11. I was like, wait a second. That's in Brazil time. Brazil, we're an hour ahead. In Brazil, we're an hour ahead. Okay, so I have a little bit of time. Yeah, I have to remember, I have to go get my egg-free. Someone is asking how you make these. I gave you a recipe on my IG for roti, for some yummy spelt roti. So if you want that recipe, it was really nice. I got it from someone else, but the spelt roti is thebomb.com. Okay, you do not have to be exposed to all of these nasty, disgusting, diabolical, biologically engineered chemicals in your food. You can make things yourself. Yeah, and the best spelt flour, just as a sidebar, I know I'm sidebarring for those who aren't here, the best spelt flour is Vital? Is it, what is it? Vital? It's the one I've been using for years. I think I put the picture on there. I've been using it for years. Vital. That's the only one I like. And my little ones like that Spelt. But if you have males or male children, don't do too much Spelt, because Spelt is like an estrogen mimicker. So if you have little boys, you want to keep them with male, testosterone, healthy testosterone. Try to stay away from Spelt. Spelt is not something that males should engage with too often. Once a week is fine, but don't make like a Spelt muffins. I made Spelt pumpkin muffins. Spelt pumpkin muffins. It was off the chain. Vegan, of course. Anyway, teff is good. Teff is good because that's an Ethiopian grain. It's really good for the body. Yeah, I like teff. I like to add teff to a little bit of my Spelt pancakes. I like to do that. Yeah, so good. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm a foodie. I'm sorry. I just went off the side. The new earth. Whenever we get on food, it's a lot of mommies on here. We cook. A lot of us love to cook different, and a lot of mommies who have raw. I was supposed to do my raw recipe book, and I started years ago. Remember when the guy came to me who was an agent sent by the government, and he came here and we were doing all the research on all these raw these restaurants over here, vegan restaurants. I have tons of raw recipes, and many of you seen the pictures of. I can make anything taste amazing raw. I do. I think that's like, anyway, sorry. I have the recipes written down for the book. I'm a true Sag in that way. I may start it off, but I really need the motivation to finish it. It's there. One day. Cooking shows, right, Jocelyn? I know. I love to watch. Oh, 11:11, thank you. Our homies bringing in, Kamika's bringing in 11:11 energy. Thank you, Mama. I appreciate it. Thank you. Please, if you step in the room, please put a like on the video as a common courtesy. I appreciate it. Do you think we can, what did you say? I'm sorry. I'm just reading comments. Do you think there can be toxic estrogen levels which should keep Balance, yes. Be careful. I always tell mommies who are pregnant mommies, right? Pregnant with the little tummies, and also mommies who have little boys. Be mindful of estrogen because estrogen is in everything. They're trying to rewire your boys. That's why we have more boys that are more feminine now, who are of a different sexual disposition than years ago because they've chemicalized the children, okay? They were giving mothers soy milk, which is also an estrogen mimicker, BPA bottles, which is plastic, and all plastic, unless you're using glass, and I'm not even a fan of stainless steel. If you're not using glass, then your child can be exposed to a lot of estrogen. A lot of the foods have soy lecithin in it. A lot of the, like safflower, a lot of these things are estrogen mimickers, and what they do is they mess with the male endocrine system, and that's why you have males with different dispositions right now. So I always tell mommies, try to stay clear of anything that has soy, everything that has soy. Plastic bottles, you know, I know boys like to play baseball and basketball, and they always have the water bottles. You can get the really cool ones with the silicone wrappings on it that are glass. You can give it to them when they go and play their sports, if they're playing sports, okay? Also be mindful of, animals. If you're still meat eaters and you have your sons who eat meat, which is fun, I don't say anything's wrong with it, be conscientious to only purchase meat that is that the animal only grazes on grass, okay? Because if you're having chickens, many of you think chicken is safe. Chicken is the devil. I think chickens are sweet. I'm not saying the chicken's disposition is the devil, but chickens are the biggest geoengineered chemicalized organism that you're consuming, and chickens are why a lot of males are showing up sexually ambiguous. And why do I say this? Because chickens eat a lot of soy. They don't give chickens chickens are natural bug eaters, okay? I've raised chickens. I love chickens. They're smart, they're sweet. But if you ever seen chickens, they actually eat grubs. They eat bugs. They have worms. That's why I tell you, people always talk about pork having worms. Birds have more worms than pork. Okay, just keeping it real. For those who are, anyone who hasn't farmed or been around animals, maybe it's hard for you to see that. But because I've been a farmer and I've raised animals, I know this personally. They just have worms in them. Okay, that's fine. If you want to consume it, you have to know what you're consuming. But if you're buying the chicken from the grocery store, that is a weapon of mass destruction. It is the chicken that has the white feathers and the pink eyes. That is a homogenized, genetically modified organism. There aren't any natural chickens. You go to Kauai, which I used to go to all the time, Kauai and places in Polynesian islands, the chickens have brown feathers and brown eyes or gold eyes. And they walk around and they eat bugs. And sometimes grass or things like that, but they don't eat corn, and they're definitely not eating soy. Okay? So turkey as well is another kind of bird. Turkey's more natural. They homogenize turkeys too, because I've seen the turkeys that y'all eat for Thanksgiving, white feathers and pink eyes. What do you think do you think that's part of nature? You take those chickens and put them in nature, they will die. They're not natural. Okay, so a lot of you are eating that, fried estrogen. A lot of males are eating fried chicken, and women, if you have husbands and his cocoa, we call it cocoa, his wand isn't working properly, it's probably because he's over estrogenized. Okay, you got to take the estrogen out of the system. It's women, what's so interesting? Many of us have been, Flurber, make sure there's no children listening to this right now. I'll be appropriate. I love alpha males. I do. It's all I'm attracted to O positive, my own blood type. I'm attracted to my own blood type and to alphas. But alphas are rare, and why it is because of the food. Many of the males are eating. You should not question a male that acts like a Neanderthal, because if he still has that grunty kind of quality, he's not paying attention to his face. He's not putting on powder on his face. He's not doing his nails. That's all metrosexualism. That isn't normal for a male to be that way. Natural males are like strong, virile, very protective. They like women. They like multiple women. Natural male likes to mate with women, like very feminine women, and they're very, very like fishers, hunters by nature. A healthy male will have he'll be more aggressive, because healthy males don't like to be they're a bit territorial. Okay, so we don't know what natural males are anymore because they've been estronizing our males, and all the aggressive males get imprisoned. And I'm not saying prisoners who you should like. I'm just saying a man who's more aggressive in the environment, who's inserted in this matrix, can't really be balanced because the matrix is set up to set him up. Okay, so a natural, healthy, strong male will be inserted into the environment, and he by the nature of who he is, he won't be able to thrive. He'll be thrown in prison because his nature is to fight. You know, he's protective. He's, you know, he'll be arrested. Okay, I'm not saying all alphas will, but you won't see many alphas. A lot of the reasons why we don't see a healthy establishment of healthy alphas or betas is because of the food. Okay, so mommies, stop giving your sons estrogen. You are the first nutritional creator for him. Keep him off of estrogen if you want him. And also, you know, in Europe, one thing I do respect, especially my cousins were talking about this the other day, is in Europe, when a boy shows up with imbalanced hormones, they give him hormones to balance out his testosterone. Here, they'll say, oh, why do you want to change him? If you're sick with cancer, or you're sick with, if you have arthritis, if you have acidity in your body, like you're getting acid reflux, don't you remedy that by making the acid less? So wouldn't it be the same if you have a boy whose hormones are off when they test him, his testosterone is off? Wouldn't it make sense that you would balance it out by giving him hormones? See, in Europe, they do this. Here in the States, they just want your boy to be all kinds of imbalanced, and then you wonder why he shows up sexually ambiguous when he's 19 and 20. Okay, so we need to be more balanced in the way we approach this. Only mothers, I think a lot of times fathers know this, but a lot of the establishment that you're seeing with all this perpetuation of males that are ambiguous, that's an agenda. And it's an agenda based on them chemicalizing your little boys. And mothers, you need to be the first protection shield for your little ones, especially from your womb. Make sure you aren't eating chicken when you're pregnant. Chicken, you can eat chicken if you're rearing the chicken. If you're rearing the chicken, you can eat the chicken. If you rear the chicken or the goat, you need to only eat things that graze on things that they graze on, like buffalo. And you need to stop eating female food too. That's another reason why our males are also ambiguous, because a lot of males are eating female animals. So you have mostly female chickens that are being killed. Most men are eating hens. Men are eating female cows. You are what you eat. If you eat too many females, you start to become a female. So I'm just saying that's part of the reason why you're starting to see so much of the imbalance in the environment. Okay, as above, so below. Watch your males. Watch your boys. Stop giving them chicken. Start, if they're gonna eat meat, make sure it's a male bull that they eat. Remember, the very balanced, wealthy people, wealthy establishment, the social economical beings that we all coexist with, I only see them eat males, and they eat bulls, and they eat male animals, cows, bulls, and they eat male chickens. Okay, stop eating females. Okay, and females, we shouldn't even be consuming females, because that's why we get abused. Eating eggs and drinking her cow's milk, that's our disrespecting our sisters. That's saying we are okay with females being abused and egregiously being colonized and murdered. Okay, so what you do and what you allow is also how the world will engage with you. That's all. Bison, yes, intergalactic. That's right, Jose knows bison. Bison, you know, bison's a very big, and I always say, if you get a farm, many of you who live together, we've already talked about that. If anyone comes in the house, please put a like on my video. I appreciate it. We've already talked about you getting together, because some of you said a cow is so expensive, or a bull is so expensive to buy. Why don't you guys come together and go to a farm where they slay the cow, one cow, so you're not getting 50 million cows, right? One cow, and you guys put money in on that one cow, okay? So you say, okay, Jose, Skittles, I'm talking about people living in the same arena, you know, okay, we know the cow's expensive, we can't buy the whole cow, so they only slay one cow. Like the farm that I went to with my husband before, he was a meat eater. I wasn't going to have him eating crazy in the house when I'm eating fruits and veggies, so I would go to one farm where they humanely, kosherly, slayed. I don't believe in murdering, but he eats meat, so I was making sure he got it. The animal was only grazing on grass. There wasn't any corn feed or soy, was treated very humanely. They slayed only 1 cow a month, one, and it was a male. They slayed it, put money in on 1 cow, and then you guys have that for, you know, a while to eat. If that's what you eat is flesh, then you should only be consuming flesh, healthy flesh. You know, I know you guys don't like when I say flesh, right? Is that a judgment? Yeah, eggs. You should only be purchasing eggs when it says, many of you only buy free range. It says free range eating corn and soy. You know that, right? So you could buy free range eggs, but the chickens eat corn and soy. So you have to look at the, I know it's so much, right? You can go to Whole Foods now. The eggs that you purchase, unless you buy from the farm is pretty good, but you can ask the farmers. The farmers really, they're very transparent. I love farmers, and we need to support our farmers. They don't get as much support because of the big corporations. You know, go to your local farmers. I find they're so amazing. Big up to the farmers in Florida. I've talked to all of them. I have a great liaison with all the farmers. I'm so respectful. I think it's an amazing thing how they're able to maintain, even in a corporate-based system, but they do amazing. Ask them what the chickens eat, and they'll tell you. They have one over here. I've already recommended people in my area to go there, where I am in Orlando. Very great people, sweet, humble. You ask them, but chickens should only be eating grubs, bugs, or their natural, what they eat in nature. They shouldn't be eating soy and corn, okay, as their feed. There's no kosher meat here in Israel. Oh, Yafi, there's no what? Wait, wait a second. Yafi said there is no kosher meat here in Israel. Yafi, that's crazy. It's a lie. See, Yafi's there. Me and Yafi saw. That's my homie. Yafi's in Israel. That's crazy. So listen, so they're selling kosher to the ones in the state, and in Israel itself, they don't have kosher. Isn't that such a hypocrisy? This is what I'm saying, family. It's a lie. This whole world is full of ish. A lot of the things. Please talk more about the new Earth. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent. Okay. So the new Earth, family. This is what I know for the new Earth. Once it's established post pole shift, big up to all those who will be coexist here, who chose to coexist here after pole shift in a healthy way. After the pole shift, the actual reestablishment, they've already, the tiers, and it's just like kind of like what you see now. There's going to be a reestablishment of the different hierarchies in the new Earth. So you have a matriarchal system. It is what it is. It's already in the future. I wouldn't lie about it. You're going to see it. So even if you don't believe me, you say, oh, she's saying women are going to, yes. I don't like the rapper. You know, I'm not fond of him. I'm not a fan of him. But if you look at Jay-Z's video, I was pissed off when he made the video. I always reference that. That is what you're going to see. He's told our story, because remember, there's a bloodline that he's a party to, he's attached to purposefully, like a parasite. Anyway, watch his video. Family Feud, is it called Family Feud? I think it's called Family Feud. I never want to big up anything, but he told our story. So you're going to have the different liaisons of women in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, and the indigenous. Listen to me. The Americas is the indigenous women who will rule this nation, north and south. Listen to me again. It is the indigenous who will hold home court advantage in this nation, north and south. They will hold the hierarchy for the entirety of the continent here. Okay? Europe will also have its established from the Celtic bloodline. They will establish their matron in that region. Okay? As far as I know, she's Slavic. That's from, as far as I know, she's Slavic or she's Scottish. I saw an aspect of her in the future. Beautiful, beautiful. She has like amazing, she has like curly reddish hair. I saw her when I saw the future, I saw her speaking to other nations. So she has like some sort of red curly hair. Beautiful woman, very smart, a lot of reverence, very respected. In Africa, you will have two different matriarchal stands from north and south. They are the reestablishment of the Queen of Sheba line. So you have Queen of Sheba line and you have one other bloodline. I'm not sure who she is. Okay, they will reestablish the matriarchal lineage over in Africa, the continent of Africa. Okay, Asia will have the dynasty of the dragon. She will be the one the dynasty of the dragon. She's of an old bloodline. Now, actually, Empress Sheba and her have friendship and liaison for generations. So you've seen her before. If you've talked, actually, she's the one that was blowing spots. Oh, I forgot. She's the one that was blowing spots years ago. I forgot her name. I have videos of her talking Oh, she was amazing. She was a princess at the time. She's going to be queen. Oh, I forgot her name. Does anyone know her name? Now, Australia, you're probably going to have the reestablishment. See, the thing about Australia, which is a little concerning, is because Australia has the Aboriginal women that are from the lineage of the Pelagians. I don't know if they're going to bring down their own, but that has to be reestablished because Australia at the time comes from an ancient Pelagian bloodline. They have to reestablish there. I don't know that they do because I don't see any healthy Aboriginals there anymore. They basically killed out the bloodline. They've you know, a lot of what happened in Australia is very tragic. They've actually killed the actual healthiness of the bloodline of the Aboriginal. There might be, but there's going to be a reestablishment. I know of the Pelagian, one of the Pelagians' offspring. So she has to be Aboriginal. She's from that area. Who else is reestablished? Watch the video. He brings it's seven different nations, 7 different matriarchals that will rule, that will work in cohesion together. They're not going to all be friends all the time. I'm not telling you that the matriarchy is going to be all kisses and rainbows. I'm not saying that to you. What I'm stating to you is that the matriarchal lines will work in sync, almost like, and they told you in the Dark Crystal, it's 7 different matriarchs that will rule over this planet back into the established way that Mother Tiamat had originally began. Hawaii. Oh, Hawaii, you have the you have your matriarchal line. Hawaii's going to be reestablished. Remember you know, I'm so bad with names. The lineage of she's actually from the Polynesian Islands. What was her name? She was the one that they took over. The 13 patriarchal line took over Hawaii. The one that sideswiped her. That's why they're making an apology now. That lineage, whoever her granddaughters are, that's the bloodline of that particular matriarchy that used to be there. What was her name? You guys from Hawaii already know her name. What's her name? They just made an apology because they put her in jail when they took over Hawaii. Many of you, who was in Hawaii? The new women are. The new Jerusalem women are not power. They are a help for us men. I love women, but I will never allow a woman to rule over me. Uh-oh. You're a lion? Well, it sounds like you're a healthy alpha. Well, listen, a healthy alpha will help to guard and defend and build. You don't have to be ruled over when you work in cohesion with her. I love your strength. See, you heard a healthy alpha right here. He's already, like, you see his feathers get. I love. It's very, very alluring. You're just your strength. You're not supposed to be under her. You're supposed to work with her. Okay. A healthy alpha will reestablish. He will build and he will protect. That's what you're a lion. I agree with you. That's beautiful. I love it. But kingdoms won't be here. It will be queendoms, and it will be respected because that's how the planet was. So you will work in sync with her. You won't work beneath her. You'll want to serve with her. That's all. With her. Notice I. Okay? We don't have to be beneath someone's feet in order to, you know what I mean? You know, the old establishment of the patriarchy was used to women being under his feet or bent over, you know what I mean? So a lot of males think that that's what they're going to engage with when we have the inversion. It isn't true. A healthy establishment of a healthy healthy queendom allows for everyone to be balanced in the position that they play. Imbalance doesn't mean below or above. It just means imbalance, or you know, imbalance with each other. That's all. What about the Caribbean? The Caribbean goes under North America and South America. It's the same queendom that will rule in the nation. Now remember, even under one queen, you have different hierarchies that rule under her. Okay, but it's going to be beautiful. I already know. It's beautiful. I wouldn't even, I'm 1000%. You know, I never say that unless I vet something out. 1000%, the entire planet will be a matriarchal line. And it will happen from something happening to males. I've already told you about the Kaaba. The Kaaba has been activated. Watch the dark crystal. The Kaaba has been reestablished into what it was meant to do. That's why males who aren't in sync will start to get sick. So, and I'm not talking about alphas, I'm talking about unhealthy males that are not at the same vibration and frequency that would allot for a healthy queendom to come online. They won't be here anymore. They will start to get sick physically. Okay? It's not me threatening it, and it's not me projecting it, it's not me wanting it, it's what it is. That's just, you know, because in order to reestablish a healthy queendom, we can't have toxic males here, so they won't be allotted here. And how you can vet out a toxic male is frequency wise, he won't match a healthy planet that's female. All right, so he won't be here anymore. So if you start to see males that start to get sick out of the blue, those are males that are misogynistic. A lot of the males that are sick, if you see them now, they're going to start getting sick. They're drinking. If they're drinkers, they're going to start to be unable to drink liquor, and they'll start to get, you know, sickness, weird ailments, weird sicknesses that weren't normally there before. Things that they can't even diagnose. Okay, that's a fact. I saw that. It is what it is. But healthy males will be here. You'll see that they'll be healthy and they'll thrive. Healthy males that are not abusive to women, that are drug free and alcohol free. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, my love. Thank you for that. You know, a lot of listen to what I said. It isn't a threat. I'm not saying anyone's parents are gonna get sick. I'm not saying this. Listen, let's keep a healthy discernment. What Flurburn is saying is that unhealthy males who aren't matching the frequency of the new earth won't be here. They won't be here. They will be euthanized. The Kaaba is now being returned to the frequency of the matriarchy. So men who aren't in service of a healthy matriarchy will not be here. That's why I'm telling you, sea stars, raise your boys with compassion, raise them with love, because they will live in a beautiful world where they will have the healthy position in a new earth. The earth is returning back to her healthy homeostasis when she was a female that only hosted healthy females on her planet. Okay? You know, so if you think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, why don't we witness? You're about to see it. And I, like I said, this isn't my projection. You can watch. So we'll know how true my reveal is by what you see out in the environment. When you start seeing healthy males that are normally healthy, that are basically like the visceral on this planet, misogynistic, they hoard yonis, they aren't regarding of females, they have sick mind, they abuse children and animals, those beings will be euthanized by the environment and by the Kaaba's energy emitting a radiation that will only affect low field males and women who are in that frequency of toxic males. If a woman is matching a toxic female that's in service of a toxic male, she will experience the same ailments. Yes, women who are out of alignment. It's all. I'm not saying it's just males. I'm talking about males in the grandiose way, because that's where we're coming out of the cycle. But females who aren't in balance won't be able to be here. They'll start to go a little batty. You know, they start to act a little chaotic in their minds. They might start to lose it, unravel. Okay, that's why it's very, and I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Let me state this. You don't have to be perfect. Someone said, oh, are you saying if we're bad people? No, I'm not saying that. Balanced. Balance doesn't mean perfection. It just means balanced. You're healthy. You aren't throwing garbage in the street. You aren't hurting children, beating animals, being chaotic to men, having sex that is diabolical. You are balanced. If you're using your body as a sexual garbage pail, you're out of balance. If you're allowing men to use your body as a sexual garbage pail, men who would use your body for sexual explicit behavior without love, you're allowing that man's semen to enter into your space, your yoni space, which will then itself be an infection for you. He will make you toxic. So by the nature of you sleeping with imbalanced males, you will be infected by his imbalance. That's all I'm saying. So there's culpability for females too, because there's a lot of females here sleeping with chaotic men. If he is in love, if he doesn't love you, he shouldn't be in your yoni. Only a male who loves you should you be sexually engaged with. Okay? It isn't natural. Females wouldn't mate with males that didn't love them previous times, because a male would have to prove himself and show himself for you to even want to mate with him, because then you want to perpetuate his bloodline. If he's out of order and acting chaotic and you're allowing his semen inside of you are going to be infected with whatever he has, whatever is connected to the frequency realignment. So that's a new earth. A new earth with that, we'll start to see more reestablishment of recycling. We will start to see things that clear off the earth. Remember, with us establishing ourselves in a more cohesive way, then what happens in the future? Because remember, the pole shift propels us. People, that's a clearing. That's the straight clearing. The pole shift is a straight clearing. We're getting it now because, you know, universe wants you to win. The universe wants you to win. So the universe right now is saying, listen, guys, we're changing. We're going to give you an opportunity. But remember, we collapsed the timeline. So most of you are already in the frequency. You're going to stay in for 12 years a slave. I didn't watch the movie 12 Years a Slave, but that was a sign for many of you. 12 years a slave is what you put in yourself in when you did not do your due diligence before the timeline collapsed. If before the timeline collapsed, you weren't attempting to balance yourself out. Balance. You notice I don't say become good or bad. I said balance yourself out. You permeated into the collapse where you're going to be in that frequency. I told you, dude, check the mic. If everything around you is chaotic, if you're walking outside of your house, you're seeing 40 bottles and people shooting each other and murdering each other, or you're walking outside of your Beverly Hills house, because you know that's some of my homies, walking out of your Beverly Hills beautiful house and everyone's shallow, egregious, not caring of others, service to self, you're going to be in 12 years a slave with those people. So you're going to be in 12 years a slave with either narcissists, sociopaths, some of you will, and some of you will be, if you're on this feed right now and you're cohesive with us, chances are you're in 12 years of beauty and of balance. And we will be coexisting in a way where it's healthy. Our children will have, just the intel we share with each other is telling you what frequency we're out. We're going to reestablish healthy males on the system. There'll be healthy babies coming on without any sort of inception. We'll be coexisting in there. So yeah, it could be 12 years a slave or 12 years of bliss, depending on the frequency. I've already done check the mic. I've done check the mic since we've done collapsing of timelines almost every other day. And I will say this, family, I am grateful for the timeline I am in. I am grateful for where I've been. I've stayed in balanced, not perfect. I don't have to be perfect to be in balance. I acknowledge my flaws, the things that I need to work on. I'm okay with them. I work through anything that maybe I wasn't doing before. It's a beautiful time. So check your mic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the other video when I say check your mic. Please put a like on the video if you step in. I see 517 people come in. Please put a like on the video just to let YouTube know that this is topic of interest. That's all. And the new earth also, males will be balanced with us. I'm talking to the males now because they get scared when I say the matriarchy. Males will be balanced. Watch the dark crystal. Males are happy. They're soldiers. They're warriors. They're beautiful. They keep the kingdoms clean. They're healthy. Listen, I'm right, Marcus? Right, Marcus? Marcus is one of our warriors. Marcus, you're going to be reestablished with healthy females around you. You can give birth to healthy offspring. You can be set in a position to protect, guard, and build. That's what males are absolutely, when they are at their best, that's what they do. We require that. I'm saying, I'm not speaking low of males that aren't in that, but I'm just saying healthy males have just, they feel the need to protect. We take that away from them. They love to build. They want to build new establishments. They want to build walls. They want to build weaponry. Healthy males like to build. They do. And they like to protect. They build and protect. And a healthy male, when he's in his natural state of being, will be successful. He'll be successful and he'll thrive and he'll be happy. Never under a queen has a man been unhappy. Under kingdoms, men are unhappy because they feel no man likes to be ruled by other men. It's not as natural. The mother ruling a household is much more cohesive. Men are usually in cohesion with women ruling because their first rulers in the house are their mothers. So that's why they're in sync with it. Look at any of the colonies, like the bees and anything. They love being there. I'm looking forward to you healthy alphas. You know, I'm not in your repertoire, but I can witness you. we and healthy betas. Let's not take away from betas. Betas are beautiful too. Healthy betas will be support systems. You know, they support the system. They do well. They won't feel abused by alphas or females, because betas are basically being used right now and they don't like it. Beta men are not happy. I know more beta men that are unhappy. Now alphas, they generally do what they want to do. So that's why a lot of them are in prison. But or if they're not in prison, they just isolate themselves. You're not supposed to have too many alphas per radius. Square radius. It's true. You look at the Lion Kingdom. You're not supposed to have too many alphas per square radius, because they will try to establish, you know, supremacy. That's how alphas are, you know. I can like the gentleman who said he doesn't want to be ruled on women. He loves women. That's a healthy alpha. His verbiage is just based on a program that he's been programmed with, because in his mind he thinks being ruled by women means he's going to be lesser. That isn't true. It means he won't be ruled by women, but he'll work alongside of her in a healthy way. That's a healthy alpha. Just the way that he worded it was beautiful. So I respect him for being in alignment. It's going to be a beautiful time. And what else? There will be different animals, though. I know post pole shift, a lot of animals will be extinct. So don't be surprised that you see certain species of animals that won't be cohesive in a new earth. That's a fact. So you won't see species of birds. Certain species of birds won't be here anymore. Certain species of fish won't be here anymore. It's just the nature of the shift. So you will see animals that are not cohesive, just like you don't see dinosaurs. Okay? Whenever there's a shift, there's reestablishment of new species, or species that can thrive in the frequency of the earth, of whatever paradigm they're coexisting with. So it makes sense that animals that coexisted in the patriarchal time, in that cycle, they won't be here necessarily. Not all of them will be here in this particular. Even insects. Some of you will see more insects thrive in this new. Some of you are seeing insects you've never seen before because of the collapse. So you will start to see. You will start to see new insects. Like I saw an insect I've never seen before in Florida. Because remember, their natural predators will be taken out and they will be able to replicate, and you'll see more of them. Like right now we have love bugs that come in spring, like late spring. We get love bugs. They're so cute. They have sex until they die. They're like attached to each other. I love the love bugs. They're just beautiful. We don't mess with them. My little ones like to go around and have them on their hands, love bugs. But for some reason, love bugs are showing up right now, which is odd, because love bugs, this is not their season. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, the collapsing of the timelines. Remember, we're changing. So maybe in this paradigm, remember the collapse of the timeline, maybe in the other timeline, love bugs come now, as opposed to late spring. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a little different. You might see same things like flies with different kind of structural makeup. You'll start to see structural makeup different for things. Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be beautiful. What else with a new earth? There'll be regenerative medicine, regenerative type of medicine, and things that will allow for people to live longer without ailments. So once pole shift and we get clearing of all the diabolical ones, because nobody wants to regenerate diabolical ones. Remember I shared, I think it was on IG. I think I shared it on IG. Barry Littleton shared it with me. The stem cell patch that actually replicates, it's a patch. It's not chemical. There isn't any chemicals. It's almost like a homeopathic. You know how you get homeopathic medicine that doesn't give you a chemical, it stimulates it stimulates for your immune system to activate. This is how the stem cell patch works. They won't allow it to be, they won't, it's already exists. They won't let the population have it, so you can't access it. But I know for a fact post pole shift, that will be, we won't be getting ailments, regular like colds, like regular things that we normally suffer from in this paradigm. We won't have those. We'll have a way to be cohesively healthy overall, and technology that allows it. So the stem cell patch will stimulate your body to replicate itself instead of vampiring or stealing fetuses, aborted fetuses, or women's afterbirth. You will be able to do it naturally. So they have it right now. You know what I mean? Remember, whenever you start seeing things established that look like technology is grandiose, they've had it for 30, 40 years already. Now that's the archaic version. Okay, they've already superseded that level of whatever we're being exposed to, that they're exposing to us. That will be beautiful. What else? There'll be a reestablishment of orgone energy. I know that comes into play, where we'll get illumination naturally through certain sacred geometrical stones, and organites will come back into play, like natural stones that will be used as energy sources that can illuminate a whole city, just with like the way the positioning, the geographical harmonics of the stones. So I know that happens. What else? I told you I saw in the future people traveling in these cubes. Crazy. I saw people traveling in cubes. Remember, I went to my girlfriend, and like Doctor Who, I would go inside the cube. She traveled to Europe and France, and I went to go stay at her place, and it was a box. When I stepped inside, it was like Doctor Who. It was stepped into another dimension. It had a lot of girth to it, more space. But on the outside of the box, it just looked like a regular box, a cube. And when I walked inside, it had she had a bedroom, a kitchen, she had a bike with some sort of thing was on the wall, like electronic. And when I went in her closet was ringing. I think I talked to you guys about this. Her closet was ringing, and I answered the phone because she wasn't home. I answered the phone, and it just talked through the walls. The person, it was her boyfriend or whatever he was, I talked through the walls. So this is the future, okay? That's post-pole shift. So we will have technology, but it'll be healthier technology, okay? And it'll probably be matriarchal based, which means moms are very sensitive about children. They'll create technology that allows for their children to be healthy. So you won't get a lot of this low field energy, technology that comes with archaic, a paradigm that doesn't really care about children, The patriarchy is not really family friendly. The patriarchy is just about control and order. Okay, that isn't healthy. Control, order, and materialism. Okay, that's the patriarchal. The matriarchy is more about nurturing and protection, and and what else? And more so natural, homeopathic, more natural based. So you'll see a lot more in my girlfriend's box. She had like a little section, almost like a solarium. I don't know if you guys know what a solarium is. My other home had a solarium. A solarium is like an encased like glass that has all herbs and greenery. Like I had part of my greenhouse. It's like a greenhouse. She had a solarium inside of her cube, like a little solarium near her kitchen that was like boxed off a little bit, and it was like herbs and stuff growing naturally, probably with recycled water. So this is part of the future. So when we talk about a new earth, that I'm giving you taste, and many other people who are seers who are able to do they talk about this time where people regenerate. Most people won't age. Most people will age to the degree that they want to. So aging will be retarded. When I say retarded, it means slow down. So that people's aging will retard, meaning people will probably only look like they're in their 20s and 30s, early 30s in the future. Because I didn't see anybody who was aged. My mother was there was she there? I don't know if she's there post-pole shift. I don't want to say that because I don't remember that. I don't want to say that. But I didn't, during that time, and remember, I only had a certain view in the future, so I don't know how the elders look, but from my feeling and what I've been shared with others, the elders will be just like, I think you saw the movie with, what's his name? I shared the movie with you. Remember you buy time. What's Justin Timberlake. Remember the movie I shared that for everyone to watch with Justin Timberlake? Kind of like that. Remember the mother they shared? Look, the love bug. I want you to show. I was going to show you a love bug. When I get it, I'll show you the love bug. There's love bugs. It's September. We don't have love bugs now. They're coming out. I forgot the name of the movie. What is it called? I forgot. You guys know what it is. That movie where the mother, the daughter, the grandmother all look the same age. You couldn't tell what age they were. That's how it's going to be in the future, where you all look the same age. Okay, there isn't any age in time. Thank you, my love. In time. That's an. Oh, if you haven't seen that movie, check that movie out. Oh, the gems in that movie. We have so many movies that have gems. In Time, amazing movie. Talks about. Hold on, this dude has his hand in his pocket. I'm a New Yorker. Hold on. In my world, he could shank me. See, I don't play that game. Call me. Listen, I'm a New Yorker in that way. Whenever I see a man with a hand in a pocket and it's not natural, I move over because, you know, people get shanked. It's like prison. I'm just saying, I move out of the way just to make sure he can't do any quick movements, and I got something for him if he attempts to come in the car and do anything. I'm just saying that's the kind of life I live. And, you know, this is what a healthy male will disallow for me to feel like. You know what I mean? A healthy male who's established in our new regime, he will be naturally protective of me. Like when I have, you know, my twin, and you know, Kirk is a beast. Kirk is a typical alpha. My twin is an alpha, but not an alpha in the way that Kirk was. Totally different beings. They're established in their alphahood in different ways. I only mate with alphas. I will only mate with an alpha, and I only mate with O positives. It's just it. I was married for a long time. I don't have a lot of mates, but that's the only way to do it. But the males that I am around, they're very protective. They wouldn't even let a male get in that close proximity of me. You know, it's very important. So watch the movie In Time. You will see that aging will be retarded. It will be slowed down to the point where people don't age the same. If you die, it's basically from something like getting hurt or an injury that supersedes our level of technology. We will have technology that will heal people. We will have replicating stem cells so we can replenish our lungs, our spleens, all that good stuff. We won't have to take it from other people. Oh, okay. No worries. What else? I'm trying to think what else in the future. That would be odd. I don't know if the cars are hover cars. From what I saw, I did see flying boxes, cubes. That's the only thing I thought was interesting when I traveled to the future. I saw flying cubes, just like the cube that I saw that opened up into another thing. I saw that, and I said I wanted to be in one of those cubes. I remember saying to a friend of mine, I want to get in one of those cubes because they were doing fireworks from the cubes that were flying. So I do remember that, but I don't remember the cars. I don't remember seeing cars if they hovered. I don't remember that. If they do, I don't know. You're O positive, and wow, I do have a thing for alphas. All females have a thing for alphas. All healthy females like alphas. It's our nature because they're the strongest of the males. All healthy females want, if they're healthy, listen to me, if they're healthy, they will mate with an alpha. If a healthy male alpha is in close proximity, every female wants to mate with him. That's why you see females now only vie for one man. There's tons, because I was talking the other day with a girlfriend. There's tons of males. You know, you have females going online saying there aren't any males. Oh, there are no men. There aren't any veiling men. There's a lot of men. There are a lot of men on this planet. There are a lot of men who want to mate with you on this planet. The issue is most women don't want to mate with all those males. They have one male that they will fight and vie over, and he's usually an alpha. Alphas get fought over. That's why alphas have sex with multiple women, because they have more choices. So that's what it is. Most women like one man. If you notice, you'll see women vie over one man, and they just want that one because he's an alpha. If you had more of them, you wouldn't have as much fighting or competition for them. You know, that's it. Alphas are desired by all women. If a healthy and an unhealthy alpha, a woman will pick an alpha over a beta every time, every day. The only time she'll pick a beta is if she's been abused, she's been traumatized by males. So she may pick a beta based on being traumatized or abused. That's the only time a woman will pick for a beta over alpha. If her father was abusive, if her father was abusive to the mother, if she's been raped or molested, she most likely will pick a beta, or she won't pick a male at all. Okay, that's Psych 101. Alphas are desired, and you know, and like I said, a healthy alpha is great for the environment. He's protective, he builds, he commands. The betas look up to alphas and they will follow his lead. He's a leader. You know, he's the commander in his environment. You know, he will lead his village or his people to thrive. He'll delegate, a healthy alpha. And he's respected. Now, unhealthy alphas will lead, but it'll be leading in a negative way. They create coups. They're competitive in negative ways. They want to destroy what they can't control. That's a negative alpha. So you do see negative alphas that are out there. Those are the ones that are like the drug dealers, that go and beat up other men or are abusive to an egregious amount of women. And don't care about the feelings of women. Those are unhealthy alphas. They're there too, but they're unhealthy. If a woman has a chance to have a healthy alpha over opposed to a negative alpha, we'll always pick the healthy one if we're healthy. Yeah. I preference healthy alphas. I preference them. And there isn't anything wrong with betas. Don't get me wrong. A man who wears a suit, who walks around in a suit, you could wear a suit as an alpha, but I'm just saying a man who's a corporate man, who's a very sweet man, humble, that's attractive too. But because of the nature of who I am and how strong I am in personality, I require an alpha for my healthy homeostasis and my peace of mind. And he's the only one who can tolerate my strong disposition. A healthy alpha can be matched with me. Because when I get very stringent or very when I have a lot of strength in the way that a lot of conviction, an alpha wouldn't feel insecure around that. A beta will. A beta will try to break me down or to suppress that aspect of myself or to try to depreciate it by saying negative things about it. You know what I mean? So a beta will be threatened by my strong disposition. An alpha will find that sexy and attractive and would want that. He likes that. He desires, that's his craving, to have a woman who's strong. But alphas will mate with beta women and alpha women the same. Oh, it's 11:01? Okay, it's time. Thank you, Carlos. It's time for me to go, family. I've got to go get goodies for my little one. So it's beautiful talking. Listen, a new earth is amazing. The end times are here, family. It's beautiful. Please put a like on the video before you step out the door. I appreciate it. This is a beautiful time on the planet. We are shifting. If you are in alignment with Mother Tiamat, if you love Mother Earth, if you love her animals and you treat the planet properly, if you treat people well, if you love yourself, if you're okay with the reestablishment of a healthy motherdom, then you will be here to enjoy the beauty of what our new earth will bring. You will. And you will place yourself in pinnacle positions where you'll be protected during the pole shift. So for those who accept that, it's going to be amazing. For those who aren't, I'm sorry. There'll be other opportunities for you to come and do another cycle where you can come and maybe you'll be cohesive, whatever cycle comes next. All right, family, so I love you. I'm sorry for the banter. I think I went all over the place. For those new subscribers, it may take adjusting. Flurburn is known for sidebarring, and I apologize. It's just the nature of who I am, and I'm a little more seasoned. So to change that, I really don't feel a necessity to do so. So I apologize if it's out of sync with you. But hopefully you'll be able to rock with us for a while. All right, so I love you, family. Have a masterful Friday. Remember, it's Venus Day, it's Love Day, it's Twin Flame Day. Enjoy your twin, enjoy proper mating today. And for you alphas, We are looking at you. We are willing to work with you, and hopefully you'll be cohesive and rock it out with us in the next cycle. All right. I love you, family. Mwah. Peace.